And let's listen to Greg Gutfield explain how woke BS is ruining our society, a term that is so ambiguous that Republicans can't even define it.
Maniac! A maniac! All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So, are there any big stories out today that could change the future of this country? No? Good, good, good. In that case, I'd like to talk about something that concerns me. Young people. By now, you've seen the stats. 98% of young people think I'm hot. Yeah, I know.
And somebody told him that he's looking old, so he had this graphic made up so that he can try to make himself feel better.
I know. The other 2% were either born without the gift of sight or wouldn't know hot if they sat bare ass on a George Foreman grill. But also, there's this. When it comes to the under 30 crowd, 63% are single. But just a few years ago in 2019, it was only 51%. That's a legitimate jump, 9%, if you will, in just a short time.
Yeah, what happened between 2019 and 2022? Let's see. Let's try to remember. What happened? Oh yeah, a pandemic and a lockdown, which required people to, not interact as much, which meant that, yeah, more people are going to be single as it was harder to get out and talk to people. That number is going to change.
The reasons, of course, have much to do with pornography, video games, and other apps that made human resources seize my iPad.
Right, but the problem, according to right-wingers, is porn and games.
And certainly, the Me Too movement played a role. It's easier to avoid intimate connections altogether than risk being accused of God knows what.
Well, if you're so worried about being accused of sexual assault, that tells a lot more about you than it does other people, because that means you're big on sexually assaulting people, and you're afraid of being called out about that.
So what you're left with is a dating pool so shallow, even Dana Perino couldn't drown in it. Because she's short. But it seems it's just the young people having problems. Everyone else is fine. But, it's not just because we're already married. It's because we're already older. We made it through the dating game before Wokism hit.
Ha! Wow, that's hilarious. Now it's Wokism that's ruining dating. Before, it was Me Too. Before that, it was women in the workforce. Before that, it was women wanting rights.
And wokeism is like a personality STD. You know what that stands for. It's killed more sex drives than a Woman of the View swimsuit calendar. For it kills dating by emasculating men who fear of upsetting women who pretend to want wokeness when they really don't. What we truly know is that women don't want a pushover. And wokeness is being a pushover on steroids, and not the fun kind. It's the kind they gave grandma to treat her rheumatism.
Wokeness is being a pushover? How does that make any sense whatsoever? No, being woke isn't being, submissive. It's fighting back and setting boundaries.
Wokeism fails men because it makes them look backward, not forward, to disown your past instead of anticipate and get psyched for the future. And there's nothing sexy about a man weeping over his white privilege. It's why men hate therapy. Look at...
No, men like you hate therapy because you gotta deal with your problems, your emotions, and take personal responsibility. And right-wingers like Getfield don't like taking personal responsibilities for their actions.
ahead, not back. After all, there's a reason boys pick science fiction over Jane Austen. And there's a reason Elon Musk is more interesting than Seth Meyers.
Right. Most people are only interested in Musk because they want to watch his dumpster fire of a website and watch him burn. Seth is actually funny.
For one, who is Seth Meyers? Gotta ask my writers this. Elon is a perfect example of looking ahead and don't look back. The men who do the reverse become speed bumps in your road to success. So, do woke men exist beyond the media? I said it before, the only woke men were successful before they were woke. Hell, even Admiral Levine was Pennsylvania's health secretary before he turned in his pants for a girdle. Now he's a she, just so you know.
Yeah, and they're successful in the military.
We've seen the toll it takes on the rest. He used to host something called The Man Show. It was crude and funny.
No, it was honestly just trash. Bunch of just sexist stuff by shit men.
But today, if his estrogen levels were any higher, he'd be lactating. Think about the few successful dudes who spew woke BS now. A decade ago, were they saying that crap back then? No, they were trying to be successful. And you can't do that with a woke mindset.
Yeah, he can't even give examples of woke men because he wants his audience to think of any guys that they just dislike and claim, oh yeah, that person's woke.
This is true in romance as well. And this has girls wondering, where the hell are the men? They've become soft, sad, and ashamed that they have testicles. Unless, of course, they're under a dress. Women see a dude in a futurist female t-shirt, and it makes them drier than Nancy Pelosi hiking through the Mojave Desert.
Right. That's why a lot of women on the left are in happy relationships. And that's why men on the right have to lie about being left-leaning so that they can try to get dates.
Terrible. This leaves men confused. I thought you wanted this new improved male. Well, while it was new, it wasn't improved. It was a degradation of manliness, chemical-free castration, if you will. So women are stuck with what their gender warriors asked for, a generation of guys who couldn't change a tire or enjoy a beer that doesn't have hints of pumpkin spice in it.
Yeah. Who needs to learn to change a tire when you can just go to a mechanic? Boom. How easy is that? It's funny how right-wingers think, you have to know certain things in order to be a man when you can easily go and get that done by somebody else. And a lot of times there are women mechanics that are doing the work.
Women might go to a protest with a woke agitator, but end up attracted to the cop. That's because the cop never made them wonder, is this your bra or mine?
Right, yeah, because left-leaning women are going to go protest about, cops beating people and then fall in love with the cop. You know what they're actually going to wonder if that happens? Is this cop going to beat me? Because 40% of cops love beating women.
So they're skipping the generation of men altogether for something else. And who's that? Old farts. Yeah. A guy who needs Viagra more than he needs Adderall. And the stats back it up. One recent study found that women in their 20s match with people the farthest out from their age range. And not just men named DiCaprio. 56% of women prefer dating older men. And why do you think that is? Of course, it could be the maturity, or it could just be the wealth. But if you're a 25-year-old woman, would you prefer a 25-year-old male who spends his time trying to cancel other people online, or an older guy who looks out for himself?
That's funny, talking about canceling when that's what right-wingers love to do. Who started cancel culture? Right-wingers, when they were killing people for wanting to have equal rights.
Let me put it another way. Would you prefer a guy who spanks it all day, or a guy who spanks you all night? Terrible. Yeah, they're disgusting. Somewhere there's a 25-year-old woman watching this and saying, Greg, you've just described my whole approach to dating. Hopefully her name isn't Frank and she doesn't have a penis. But in short, an ideal man's priorities aren't about getting his pronouns right. It's getting his purpose right. You can't do both. Men can't be woke and be men.
Men can't be woke and be men. You can't be aware of the injustices in society and be a man at the same time. You gotta, in order to be a man, according to Greg Gutfeld, you gotta be a sexist bigot.
So this is good news for young, smart, single men who have plans, love to work, lift weights, and eat steak. You're in short supply, making you in high demand. And if you disagree with me, find a gender-neutral bathroom and cry alone. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Good thing he's a doctor because he's got one hell of a sick body. Host of Ask Dr. Drew.
Oh, you checking out his body, I see, Greg Gutfeld. Looks like you got a little bit of a secret you're letting out.
Dr. Drew Pinsky. He's here because he thought Dr. Drew could get him penicillin. Comedian and co-host of the Jim Norton and Sam Roberts Show on SiriusXM, Jim Norton. After 30 years in TV, she describes tonight's show as, you guessed it, a low point. Former Fox News anchor, author of the book Write Your Own Story, Patty Ann Brown. And finally, she's like a cold spring day, 38 and chilly. Fox News contributor, Kat Tipp.
What's with this freaking music that they're playing? Are they like trying to drum up their audience to be all excited about these people?
Yes. Jim, first congratulations on being voted by GQ most woke comedian. It's quite an honor. Don't you love that?
Oh, I do.
The finger snapping?
Oh, I hate when a crowd laughs or claps. I'm like, come on, guys, get with it. Nah, you know what I need.
Yes. What do you agree with my theory? Do you think I'm hyperbolic? Or is there some truth to it?
I think both. I think there is truth to it, but women like it when you can connect as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't just want to, every woman doesn't necessarily want a fireman. Like, they like the fact that I'm hard as nails, but I also cry when I can't maintain my erection. They kind of like it.
Well, no, people like it when, the person that they're dating is, emotionally mature and can, handle their feelings and doesn't just punch walls whenever they hear something they dislike.
Combination of those things.
Yes.
So I think you're right that it's not necessarily a sexy quality, and they like older men, but probably for the same reasons you said, because we have money. That's why.
Yes.
Or they just think it's sexy when I tell them how much things cost when I was their age.
Yes. That is definitely a turn on. PAB, when you were single, or imagine if you were single, would you have dated a wokester? What would be the requirements for that?
God, it's funny how they still haven't even defined like what a wokester is, besides like a guy that's like in touch with their emotions and willing to stand against like police brutality and such. Like, how is that bad?
I don't care what the requirements are. I would not date a wokester, and that's why I was single for a really, really long time. But at the end of the day, I ended up marrying someone younger.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
But it's hard to find someone out there these days.
Yeah. Like who? Who's it hard for?
Well, I listened to this show.
Have you been looking, PAB?
Not lately. Married almost 20 years now, and happily to my younger man.
Yeah.
But, thank you. You can applaud for
I
that.
believe it's what you call a smattering. That's a smattering of applause.
I'm not so sure. Definitely not so sure.
That was polite applause.
Yes.
Yes.
I figured that. There's a radio segment on this local radio station called Blown Off, and I'm addicted to it. And it's just a guy or a girl calls in and says, I went on one date or I've dated somebody for several months, and now they blew me off and I don't know why. And they get the person on the phone, and it's always something really obvious
Yeah.
that the person somehow didn't realize, because I think one of the big problems is that people don't know how to interact in person anymore. They don't know how to go on a date. They do obviously stupid things because they get their social norms from reality TV and social media and TikTok, and they have no idea how to behave in public.
That's a great point. That is a great.
Right, yeah, like the right-wingers that are like beating airline attendants just for being asked to wear a mask. Yeah, those people definitely know how to interact in real life.
Great point. They're inarticulate because they're better used to just dealing in an abstract environment like online. It probably is Dr. Drew's fault.
Could
right?
be.
Because
Could be.
You've exploited reality TV.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
but her point is well taken. But I'll tell you what, I've been talking to young people for decades, right?
Yeah.
So I sort of hear things before they get into the sort of data sets. And again, so this is all very anecdotal, but what I'm hearing lately is, A, they're definitely, the wind is out of the sails. They're involved with their pornography. And
Yeah.
B, they're afraid of being seen as predatory. Relationships are hard. They have no practice in working on them and navigating them. They'd rather just sit with their porn. And I'm starting to hear about prostitution use. First time in my career, I'm hearing young men report spontaneously that this is something they're doing. So.
Well, funny. Oh, they just care about their pornography. They're afraid of being accused of being a predator. Well, you know, you're not going to be accused of being a predator if you don't try to prey on women. See, that's easy. Just don't, you know, try to abuse women for your own personal gain, and you won't be considered a sexual predator. There's a lot of couples that love watching porn together. It's a big thing. So pornography isn't the cause of bad relationships. And what was that last thing he said? Let me go back.
Just sit with their porn. And I'm starting to hear about prostitution use. First time in my career, I'm hearing young men report spontaneously that this is something they're doing. So.
Yeah. Buying sex workers or buying sex from sex workers has been like the staple of society throughout all of human history. So pretending like this is something new is pretty freaking funny.
That's a transaction that they can trust because when money passes hands, it's implicitly trustworthy. They're not going to get accused of anything.
Yeah, it's very sad. And we really need to encourage people to meet in flesh, in person, just the
It's funny how they're so afraid of being accused of being sexual predators. It tells you the type of person that they are if you're this worried. If, like, just talking to a lady, you're afraid you're going to be accused of sexual assault. That just means you've sexually assaulted so many people and you know what you're doing, and now that people are willing to call you out on that, you're afraid of being called out and having other people know you're a sexual predator.
the healthiness of spending time with other humans has been lost by social media. So there's a lot going on, and I'm arguing it's a choice these young men are pulling away. It's not just the porn is taking the wind out of their sails. They're choosing because they don't know how to navigate relationships.
Maybe this is an evolution. Maybe this is a positive thing. Maybe this whole Adam and Eve stuff was just a wasted time, right? No.
It's easier to, if you like that dopamine drip you get from porn, like when you're zoned out in front of the computer watching porn, you can just kind of give yourself that drug for hours.
That's right.
And a date, you get dinner and all that nonsense. I mean,
More expensive, too.
I wonder how they would feel after being told that there's tons of couples that watch porn together that would totally destroy their idea of pornography, but they would also just go into complete denial about it.
it's more expensive, yeah, and it's it's just easier to give yourself that drug.
Yeah.
Prostitution, that definitely is something. I'm surprised that young people haven't talked to you about that. But if you'd like to hear an older guy talk to you about it, I can.
Here we are.
Nah, I don't want to listen to old men tell me about pornography.
I'm surprised you would need to pay for sex, Jim.
You've never seen me nude, Greg.
Thank you. I don't think it's a surprise, Kat. Before you were married, and you're happily married, that you dated a lot of losers. I mean,
It's not a joke.
no, we could go through. We'd spend hours discussing the amount of dirt bags and no good failures.
She and I have.
We have. Yeah.
Oh, so Drew is saying he dated a lot of loser men? Ah, it seems like in this segment, a lot of these people are, telling secrets that, they probably shouldn't want to tell others.
That's true. Yeah.
Think this is? Do you think that Dr. Drew's making a good point about these other things, or is it really they just can't communicate?
Maybe. I mean, I didn't need to marry an old man to pay my bills because I pay for my own bills myself with my money that I got from building a fan base of old men.
Oh, so you're a working woman. That's bad. What, you got your own checking account? You're not at home taking care of the kids? You're not barefoot and pregnant? Oh, so why is it good for her to be doing all this, but Fox News and right-wingers always want to claim that women should just be barefoot and pregnant?
That's beautiful.
And I love you. I love you guys. Don't you? Yes, you. I'm talking about you. Don't you forget it.
They're
Don't
gonna
listen
think
to what
you're
your
talking
wife.
to 'em.
No matter what your wife says. I am talking to them. I think that there's something to what you're saying too, because my husband is by far the most conservative man that I ever dated. He's more conservative than I am, and I like went through with it. I married him.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that that's what I was looking for, but apparently I must have been.
Well, that's funny. I'm a conservative chick who's into conservative people, and my husband is conservative, but I didn't realize I was looking for conservative people. Wow, she truly has to be stupid and so self-unaware of her own self.
Yep.
There you go. There's your answer. That's science, right? That's
Anecdotes.
No, that was actual science.
science. Okay, yes,
yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yes. Do you think dating apps play a role?
Of course.
In the sense
but here's what the dating app show is that 10% of the people are having lots of sex and everyone else is S out of luck.
Exactly. They go to the same like top 10%
Yep.
or 5%.
Yep.
Interesting.
I've done poorly on dating apps.
What?
I know. Because I show up and they're like, "That's not your picture." I'm like, "So what? I'm funny."
The problem with the dating apps is it eliminates the possibility for somebody with an interesting personality to convince a woman that you're worth taking a risk on, even though you don't look like, me.
No, dating apps can be used to filter better the people that you can connect with and won't connect with, and you don't even have to meet them face to face to begin with. You can talk to them online and be like, yeah, we seem to connect online, let's meet in person, or we don't connect, let's not meet in person.
And it makes everybody disposable.
Yeah.
Everybody's disposable. How many people start out like, "Oh my God, I hated their guts at first," and then we got to know each other, and then like we started dating, and now we're married, as opposed to I saw this person, they said one thing. I had a woman tell me once that she was a vegan. I went, "Oh, do you eat fish?" She blocked me.
Oh, big whoop, you got blocked. She didn't feel like explaining to you what veganism is when it's easy to understand and everybody knows what it is.